All right, guys, we've never done a video like this before. I am so excited. And if you're thinking about living in Costa Rica and possibly starting a business in Costa Rica, whether it's small, maybe you want to hire a couple people, maybe you want a gardener. We're going to be talking labor law. Labor law. We're going to be talking to Karen. Karen, thanks for talking to us. Karen specializes with two different types of clients. People that want to do things right and get off to a good start, and people that didn't do things right and need her help to get out of that shit. Anyway, we're going to be talking to her in a second. Guys, if you're thinking about living in Costa Rica is on your map, but you're not quite sure. We got another relocation retreat coming up very soon, 6-7 day event. Come there. There's no blowing smoke. You'll hear the good, the bad, the ugly. And after those 6-7 days, I promise you 100%, you will know if Costa Rica is right for you or it's, honey, we're going to Belize. Forget Costa Rica. Costa Rica is not for everybody. But anyway, all that information is a link in the description. Now, before we get started, guys, these kind of videos usually beg more questions than answers. So we're just going to kind of do some general stuff so you can kind of get it in your head what you might want to be thinking about if you want to start that small business here in Costa Rica, or you want to hire some people to, I don't know, plant your trees. I don't know. Anyway, Karen, this is gonna be crazy.
Well, I'm ready for it.
All right. So you do, I think I was kind of correct. You specialize in labor law, and it usually is those two types of clients. They're either, hey, I want to do things right, and you're going to get me on board. You're going to get me right.
No, those are the perfect clients because it's all pretty from there.
Or the people that didn't do things right, and they go,
they already have the problem. Yeah, but we get them out. It's a good.
You know what? Let's start at the kind of the beginning because I've done this. Okay, so to me, the most important thing is, and I've had a lot of videos on this, is to find the right person. You've got to have that initial contact that you know is not going to be driven by money or just do things and not have your best interest. So, guys, this is why we're doing this video with Karen. Because now, if you want to start, you can start with her. If Karen can't help you and doesn't really know a particular something, she can point you in the right direction. But if you don't start off right, you can go south very quick. All right, so I come in, I find you, I want to do things. Well, no, let's pretend. How can this go wrong right from the beginning? Mm-hmm. I go into, let's say, ex-lawyer, and I go, okay, I think I'm going to build like 5 cabinas, and I might have a little soda restaurant out in the front.
Okay.
And
so you want to do that from the start. You haven't, well, first of all, we need to know who's going to be the owner of that. Is it going to be you directly? Are we going to have a company to put it under? Where is it going to be? So we need to get that ready first. And then after that, who's going to build it? Who's going to do it? Who's going to work for it? Are you going to have a manager? Are you going to, I mean, there are a lot of questions that we need to answer.
Am I even going to be living here while I'm running it?
Exactly. I mean, or do you want to have it ready and just basically walking by itself and only have somebody that comes and cleans the place, you know, every time the Airbnbs leave and come the next one? Or is there somebody that's going to have an office there, you know, for walkings or whatever? So we need, first of all, we need to get the idea of what you want to do, what you need to do, so we can get you to what you need to do. Okay. And
so a specific plan of, here's what I want to do. I want this, this, and this. I want me and my family are going to be the primary owners. And if I'm not here, my son's going to be here.
Exactly. We need to know what your whole plan is. I mean, I know maybe you have an idea of what you want and you're like, okay, well, this is kind of what we want, but we're thinking that maybe throughout the way we'll figure it out. So it's important to have an idea of what you want so we can sit down and talk and see, okay, well, first we need to, for example, you say, okay, well, I want nothing under my name, but I want something completely legal. Of course, I have to have access to it. And we need a company. We need a society. That's what the name of it here is. We have a couple of different societies or companies that are registered over here. So you can have an actual ID number, you know, so you can start working with an ID number. If it's the same, it would be an ideal world where you have the right company under your name. There are a couple of ones. Maybe you're thinking of doing something by yourself. Maybe you're thinking of doing something with other people. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to manage the whole thing, but I have a couple of friends that are going to put money in. Okay, so we need a company that we're going to divide and
like
see
the
who
percentage.
votes. Yeah, exactly. He's going to be the owner of 25%. I'm going to be the 50%. And there's going to be somebody that's going to put their work in for 10%. They're not putting any money in, but they're going to work it. And they're going to be there. And that's the person that's going to contact you.
So if I start the wrong society right from the start, and like let's say I go to the wrong attorney and they go, oh, I know what you want. I got it for you. Come back Tuesday, sign some papers.
Yeah.
And it may not be in my best interest you know what I mean? Right?
Completely. I mean, there are people, you need to actually understand. And I always tell people, you need to think about the future. I mean, okay, so, I know you're liking the country and you're probably thinking about being here, but then maybe you're like, in a couple of years, you're like, oh, well, I want to leave, but somebody's going to come by, or I'll be once a year here. What's going to happen if something happens to me? We have to think about that. Okay, so if something happens to you, we need to get everything ready for somebody that's going to be after you, So if you're planning on leaving this to your grandkid, I need to know about that. It's good to know the first time we meet. I'm doing all this because it might sound like a weird question. What are you doing this for? Is this because you need this kind of work? Are you interested only on the income, or are you interested on an investment plan? Or do you want to do those 5 bungalows, but you plan on doing 20? Because that's your dream was to have 20 bungalows in Costa Rica,
Right.
So everything is going to be a different whole story.
Which is that's the probably the takeaway from this. Mm-hmm. Everything is different. Mm-hmm. And if you think you're just going to go into a lawyer, because I've talked about this in a lot of videos and we talked off camera, this seems to be true. Almost people will tell you they can do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And that carries off. That's just not lawyers. That's not just any. That's the construction guy. Yes, I can build a fountain that
Yeah, no, and
so right.
It's completely true.
So you don't want to.
There are a lot of people that want to do something for you, and then they don't even know, but they're like, okay, well, I'll figure it out on the way. I know there's some people that actually figure it out on the way, but then there are people that get you on the wrong place, and like I've seen people that we could have saved this whole problem if we would have done it right from the beginning,
Right.
And it's not because they wanted to save money on stuff. It's not that. It's just that they were not guided to the right place.
Right. So it's obviously find the right person to get started with, and make sure you have kind of a pretty well looked at plan you want to do. Mm-hmm. And get the association. How many different associations are there? Are there a bunch?
Well, yes. Over here, the ideal ones for somebody that wants to invest on the country would be 2. The SA and Society SA or Society SRL. They're going to be for different kind of investments that you're going to do. If you're planning on coming here with somebody else, with your partner, with your kids or whatever, and you're like, okay, well, it's going to be 2 people making decisions. It's just going to be us 2. So it's easier to do an SRL. But if you're planning on coming here and getting, like the example I gave you, like somebody's going to work for that percentage. Somebody is going to put money on that. And then another person's going to put money. And there are going to be 4 or 5 people. We need to do an SA that will actually get you a whole vote, and people would want to invest, because there's some people that sometimes get everything ready and they're like, okay, we're gonna sell a couple of actions for I don't know, whatever money, and people come in on that SA or society. So it's important to see what your ideal dream. When people come in, I literally tell them, and they're like, I want to invest. Okay, what's your ideal scenario? What would you love to do? What would you like to do? What do you want from Costa Rica? What would be perfect? So they're like, okay, well, my ideal world would be to do this and that and whatever. Okay, we can get there, but we need to know from the beginning, because we can't fix it, or it's going to be really expensive to do it from the middle, and they're like changing their dream. People do that, but if we had an idea of what you wanted, it would be easier or cheaper to get there.
Well, I've been living here a long time, 17 years, and I've seen some. I know. I mean, I didn't hear the stories. I watched them happen, and I've seen some people make some serious, serious mistakes with employees.
Oh.
And I've seen it in. I've had friends that have owned little restaurants. I've seen it to where it's a gardener that's been working for you for every Monday for 2 years or whatever it is. Let's go over just a couple things that I don't think people are aware of when they, let's say, hire a maid, a cook, the gardener, and they're just like, hey, they're like family. They come here and they, every Wednesday and clean my house. Now, if they don't set that up correctly, let's just go right to bad. Okay.
No, I have horror stories.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so let's use the gardener. The gardener has worked for me for 2 years.
Every Monday.
Yeah, and I got kind of, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I want to do it myself now, and he's upset because he thought we were friends and he had a job or whatever. For whatever reason, we don't really part. It's not perfect. It's like, hey, Jose, we're thank you. You've been great, but no more. Thanks.
Okay, so. It might depend because Jose might leave because you wanted him to leave, or he left by himself. It's going to be completely different what we do if one of the other.
It can be a bad scenario though both ways, can it?
Yes,
he can say you forced me out, even if he did it.
I know, but that's the thing. It shouldn't be that way. I mean, literally, here we have different kinds of ends of jobs. We have the ones that somebody says, I'm going to leave. So they have their legal, they only have, let's say, there's a thing called Aguinaldo here in Costa Rica, which is in December. People get the double of the amount from that month. It's something we have.
Like an extra month. You get a free extra month.
It's not free, but it's it's an extra month. People get, everybody that works in this country has the right to get this. I mean, and it's the legal right to get this. If you pay it to me, good. And if you don't, I can actually make you pay me that because it's my right to have the Aguinaldo, which is this extra month. The extra month is not, for example, because maybe you're paying somebody, let's say, $100 a month because they come in a couple of hours every Monday. And in July, they started coming 3 times a week. So they started earning $300 instead of $100, for example. It doesn't mean that in December, you're going to have to pay them $300. We have to do a mathematical example to actually see how much he earned throughout the year and divide it by the months to see how much his aguinaldo really is. It doesn't mean that if you're working in December, you're going to get a whole month. I mean, there are people, you might hire somebody in September. So you have to give them the proportion of the aguinaldo that corresponds. It's not going to be the whole month.
Right.
So that's something to not be scared of, because you might be, oh, well, no, I'm going to wait till January to actually hire somebody. I'm not going to hire them now because I don't want to pay them an extra month. No. It's all divided. And then we have vacations that's the right of every employee to have vacations. The vacations here in Costa Rica are after 50 weeks of work, you get 2 weeks off paid. You get 2 weeks off paid.
But is that even for the gardener though?
Yeah. Yes. Every worker has the right to those 2 things. Well, 3 things: minimum wage. Well, we'll talk in a little bit. Vacation and the aguinaldo. And that's a lot of people get really scared of that, and
I'm scared of that right now. I'm like, what?
And a lot of people actually don't have the right information on that. I mean, if you have the gardener that comes in once a week, you're going to give them 2 weeks off, which means only the Monday
the 2 Mondays
and the 2 Mondays. It doesn't mean that I'm going to have to give you 14 weeks of vacation. Some people actually call and say, well, the maid is asking for a vacation. She comes in 2 times a week. Do I have to give her like 12 days? I mean, how does that work? I'm like, no. Just give her 2 weeks, or pay her 2 weeks and a vacation, and pay her their normal week, you know?
Right.
That's another way to have it. But I mean, that's complicated. It's easier to actually let them enjoy their vacation so they won't have me saying that, oh, well, he paid me, but he made me stay.
But now Jose's upset because he's gone.
But the thing is that if Jose left on his own because he got a better job offer, because the gringo next to you offered him $20 more a month, because that happens, and if he leaves and you have your aguinaldo and vacaciones paid the right way, there's nothing he can do to actually come back and haunt you if we do it the right way. You don't have to give him anything else. But if you told Jose, don't come back anymore, because, for example, I found out that he was, I bought X flowers to get planted and he sold half of them to somebody else. That happens a lot. I mean, those kind of examples. And you found that happen. We need to do it a different way. We actually need to give him a letter to let him know that that he lost his job and that we have no responsibility because we have proof that he did something or he committed something that made that me as a work giver gives me the authority to actually take you off the job without paying you two things that are not mentioned.
Yeah, you fired him for stealing, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Right? But I have to do it the right way. I mean, I can fire you for stealing, but if I don't do it the right way, you can come back and say, I didn't steal.
Now, what's this about? So I always hear the word contract work for like those people, like a gardener or a maid.
No, whatever.
So if I'm going to have a maid come in and I think, okay, she cleans the house once or they garden once and I go, I think I like them. I want them. Should I be doing something at that time? Should I be like getting in touch with someone like you and going, hey, I like this guy, Jose. We've talked and it seems like he's interested, wants to work for me. Is there anything legal I should be doing? Or it's like you just say, well, have fun with Jose?
No. First of all, you need to get a contract because you need to know what are his do's and what are his don'ts, what he can do and what he can't do. I mean, he has access to everything that has to do with the gardening, but he has no access to coming in my house. He can't come in my house. He can't do this, but he has the right to do. I'm going to give you something that's going to actually scare you. If you have Jose every day, once a week, but all those days that he comes in once a week, you invite him in to have lunch with you. And of course, you're not going to ask him or take that off his, okay, you made $20 today, but I'm going to take $5 off because you ate with me. You're not going to do that, of course. But if Jose leaves on really bad terms, he can actually say, he paid me $20 a day and gave me all the food I needed that day. He gave me a Coke in the morning or a coffee in the morning and bread. He gave me a Coke in the middle of the day. He served me lunch. He served me whatever. And in the afternoon, he gave me also coffee. I can actually do the math of that and say, okay, he paid him $20 in cash for the work, but he also paid him $10 in food. So his actual salary was $30, not $20. And the aguinaldo would have to be under those $30, not the $20. And it's something you didn't have to do because, I mean, you didn't have to invite him over to have food. So the contract basically puts these things on the document. I mean, you say, okay, I'm going to pay you $20 a day. And if you get anything from me, it's not, I mean, I'm not paying you in species. It's only the $20. Anything you get, it's a gift. It's not paying you, you know?
Yes.
Okay. So literally the food is a gift.
You know,
if you have that on paper, you're covered. You don't have to worry about that. Because, I mean, if you don't do it, you're going to have to pay the aguinaldo, which is the extra month. We were talking about the vacations on that. And on what I was saying the other way, if they left on bad terms, that you have to pay more things than that.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm assuming that most gringos that come here don't have a contract with the gardener.
No,
or
no,
the
no,
maid.
no, no, no.
And that sounds so, and that sounds like, okay, yeah, Mike, you guys are overdoing this. And that might be right. But the thing is, when it goes south, it goes very south. See, that's the thing. You're like going, come on, man, I love Jose. He loves me.
He comes in every day.
But
he's with the kids.
And this is the problem. This is the problem. You get lulled into this.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 5 years later, and now it's bad terms, and it can go very south with Jose that you gave a coffee to all this time.
You gave him $10 that you haven't paid him every week. I mean, so literally, when you, like how you said it, 5 years later, you owe Jose, I don't know, $2,000 because you gave him food.
I would also say that this might be good to know, that your employee that you hire knows more about labor laws than you do.
Of course.
I guarantee you, Jose knows the shit. Right?
That's completely right. I mean, I've talked to people because sometimes I handle things in companies that I get people to my office and I actually let them go. And I'm like, okay, well, it was great having you, but we had this. And then I get like on that. And sometimes people come in and I'm like, okay, but we have, and they're like, well, what about my money on this and that? I'm like, yeah, that's all covered. We have that. And we also have an appointment to actually give you the payment of what we owe you. And there are people that come in and they don't even know that we were going to let them go. And they already know how much money they need to get. I mean, literally, they're like, they get their calculator out and they're like, okay, you're owing me for Aguinaldo this much. You're owing me 20 days of vacation. You're owing me this and that. And you're no, I'm serious.
No,
people
I know you are.
like that.
I know you are.
People come in like that. And I'm talking about a company, but then there are also the ones that work there and they're like, no, I have a right to this and that. And they never gave me vacation because you didn't give him vacation.
Right.
But when you went to the beach, you actually took Jose a couple of times to, because you have a house on the beach, because that happens a lot. That happened, let's see, about 3 months ago with a client. He had a Jose working.
I love Jose.
He had a Jose working. They have a house on the beach. And they took him to the beach so that he could also stay there the whole week, but work the same Monday that they worked. They were going to be gone for 3 weeks to Guanacaste. They took Jose. Okay, Jose, you're coming with us 3 weeks. If you want, well, we're going to pay you for those 3 weeks. Something we used to pay you $100 a month, but that 3 weeks, we're going to pay you $500 because you're going to be there every day. Or if you want, we can give you the vacation and pay you extra and whatever. And then Jose goes, no, they never paid me extra because you don't have it on paper. You took him 3 weeks to work there, but you don't have anything that proves that you paid him $500 instead of $100, you know? I mean, there are little things that would be so different if you had a contract. And if you let people know, okay, if you do this, and people get scared when they know they have contracts. People get scared when they know that you have somebody that guides you through this whole thing, you know? If somebody knows that you have a contract and that you went to Karen's and that Karen knows how it works. And so when you get them out and they're like, okay, well, no, I can't do that because, I mean, Karen's going to let him know that he can't give me money without a paper being signed. So I can't sue him if he pays me because Karen's going to make sure that the court knows that he already paid me. So those are the kind of things that you need to have a lawyer for it. So it gives you more protection, I guess. I mean, even if it's just them knowing that you have somehow
you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you know what? We could sit here for 3 hours and talk about bad stories.
Just about Jose. Yeah. Leaving. I mean.
And Jose.
Jose.
Do you have to pay the health insurance of a contract worker?
Yes, you do. But no.
The health insurance is called the CAJA here. Now, if you have a bar or restaurant and you've hired employees, you are paying their monthly health insurance as well as their
Well,
is that true?
Yes. I mean, in Costa Rica, we actually, that's one thing. It's kind of like some people hate it, love and hate relationship. I mean, because we have
what is the owner
here.
or the not?
No. I'm talking about the whole healthcare thing. I mean, it's a love and hate relationship because it's great that we have healthcare, like absolutely there for you. But it's horrible the fact that we have to pay every month a lot of money for it. You know, even if you're not going to need it, even if you don't need to see a doctor for 3 years, you still have to pay them for 3 years. But it's important. I mean, it's important to actually get people under the CAJA. But it's going to be a proportion of what you pay him. I mean, it's not that you're going to pay him. I mean, if you're paying somebody $25 a week, you don't have to have him in the healthcare for the complete month, you know? I mean, you can actually go and say, okay, I have somebody once a week, and he earns literally $100 a month. Okay, so he earns $100 a month. It's not going to be how people think, oh, it's going to be $300 for that. And no. I mean, it's going to be like literally a couple of dollars paying the amount that requires for that day that he only worked. But there's one more thing important when you have a worker like that it's actually exposed to something dangerous. Because maybe you can put Jose on painting the roof. So, or you need somebody to paint the roof, and Jose goes, I can do that for you. Okay, you have Jose. Let's say Jose falls down. The CAJA is not going to take care of that, because there's another place that it's called the INS, which is the Institute of National Insurance. Right. The Institute of National Insurance here in Costa Rica gives you something you can pay for somebody that's going to get up on your roof for one day, and you're literally paying them like something dumb, like around 10,000 colones, which is around $25, $20. And you can pay that insurance for somebody. So if he falls down and he literally breaks a leg, which you have no idea how much that happens. People call me and they're like, no, I got a call a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, Karen, I had somebody working and something, I think it was like a lawn, and chopped 4 fingers off the guy. So he's like, what do I do? I'm like, okay, do you have the insurance, like the ins on him? No, I don't. I really don't. Okay, do you have CAJA on him? No, I don't. Okay, it would be better for you to take him somewhere, a private place, you know, like another. And when I'm saying a private place, I'm not saying that I'm going to take you to the dark room to actually get the bandages. I mean, what I'm saying is not the CAJA hospital, which are the normal hospitals. Take him to a private clinic. Yeah, exactly. Take him to a private clinic. It's going to be easier, and he's going to have the care he needs right away. But I mean, if you don't have those things, they're literally
the employee's responsible.
Yes.
I mean, the employer is responsible. The employer
is responsible for what happens to that person while they're working for you. But if you take them to the CAJA or to the INS, if they don't have the insurance or the healthcare, it's going to be 5 times more expensive to taking him to a private clinic. Right. So if he fell off the roof, if Jose fell off the poor Jose, I mean,
he's had a hard life, Karen. He's had a hard life.
So Jose fell down, broke a leg, and Jose's going to be off work for about 2 months. You know, I mean, he can't move, he can't walk. So first of all, it's cheaper to pay him those 2 months to be in bed, take him to a private place so he can get all the bandages and everything he needs, get cast, whatever. That would be better to actually take him to the CAJA that's going to bill you for a lot more stuff, and actually bill you for not having him on that. The cheapest thing would be to actually pay those $20 I told you for that day of doing the painting on the roof. Right. You know, that would be the perfect ideal world. But sometimes you don't know that. You don't know that with $20 you could save this horrible story I told you. I mean, because if you had those $20, that's the horrible scenario. But the scenario, if he falls down and you have that, you literally take him to whatever hospital and to the CAJA, and literally they just do everything for him, and they just tell the INS, okay, here's the charge for this that happened on your. I mean, they get on it between them. You have nothing to do. And if you actually reported on what he made a day, the INS has to pay Jose those 2 months that he's going to be out. And you don't have to pay that. You only paid the $20 that was the insurance to do that. people don't know that, and sometimes
Yeah, they learn the hard way.
I mean, an accident happens in a couple of seconds. So
now, if it's more of a 40-hour a week at the now Jose's upped his game. He's working at the he's working at the restaurant and bar.
Ooh.
Now, as me as the employer, is the CAJA, it's my responsibility, but is it part of his check, or is it part of who's responsible for? I know the money comes from me, but is it taken out of his check, or is it like
a percentage? I mean, there's a percentage of that you have to pay for, and a percentage you can actually withdraw from what his payment is. But it's your responsibility to pay it to CAJA.
Okay.
You can't give him the money of the CAJA. You have to pay it because it's under your name. When you go to the CAJA and say, okay, I'm going to put this person, I'm going to pay this person to do this work, whatever. To tell you the truth, if you at any moment are going to do this, the ideal thing is not to actually go to CAJA yourself. You can actually give the document power of somebody or a lawyer or somebody that knows and understands in doing this to go and do the documents for you. Because if you go, I mean, it's going to be, you're going to run when you get out.
It's another nightmare.
It's going to be another nightmare. So it's the ideal thing would be somebody that knows to do it. So that's something I wanted to put there. But the thing is that when you go there, it's Jose is under your name. You're responsible. So if you give Jose the money and Jose doesn't pay, you're
still going to be responsible.
And you're owning it month over month. Every month.
Guys, we could again talk for hours. What we're learning, a couple of things is you need a good contact right from the beginning. You need to be proactive instead of reactive, and that's the issue here because. Yes, it's confusing, but see, that's the whole thing. There's nothing black and white here. Everything is different. It's this way over here. It's that way over there. And you want to get started on the right foot. So we're just telling a couple stories so you guys can get an idea of how important it might be to start on the right foot. All right. So I got a feeling we'll probably be talking to Karen again, because these issues are never ending. Jose, trust me, in part 2, he gets in even more trouble.
No, I mean, he came from the gardener to now he has a bar. I mean, he's working at a bar.
And if you don't do things right, he might be owning your bar.
Oh, yes.
I'm not kidding, actually.
No, I'm not.
Okay, let's not talk about that. So we know this is more questions and answers. So if we've kind of piqued your mind and you're like thinking to start a business, however small, with workers or whatever, and you want to get a hold of Karen and get started the right way, email me. I'll get you in contact with Karen. But again, and I would love to hear you guys that live here. It really helps if you leave your comments, your nightmare stories, your good, the bad, the ugly. If it's good, tell us. Or maybe there's a different way that you've learned, because what I've learned making videos all this time is when I say, here's the way you got to do it. Not really. There's a million ways it might work or might not. Might not. Karen, thank you so much for me talking to her again. I promise. Jose's not over. I'm Michael Allen, TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Peace, guys. Hope it helps. Things are going to pop up if you're thinking about living or traveling anywhere. Always do your homework and research. And I'm going to start with my videos. All right, man. Ciao.